Morning at 5 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Welcome to the Sideline Report, brought to you by the Times Leader, U-Ride, Bashir Sawmill, and ABC Finance. Good morning, Todd Griffin.
Good morning. Another week with a lot of sports to talk about.
Man, it just seemed, you think
It's
it was
always that way,
summertime and
yeah.
there's really nothing going on. You say there's nothing going on, but there's lots going on. So,
Oh, yeah, there's always everything going on. And, it's baseball and softball still going on at the ballpark. And, basketball is being played a little bit. And we've got Daniel Kukahiko in the studio with us this morning. And he's the Caldwell County boys basketball coach. And, Daniel, first of all, good morning. Thanks for joining us. And
Good morning.
Now you guys are already busy getting ready for the season.
Absolutely. We've played about 10 or 11 games so far. Had some good stuff. Already went to a team camp. We've hosted our little kids camp, so it's been an eventful summer to this point.
Well, and I know hopes are high in the Tiger camp for the upcoming season, even though, the actual season's still 5 or 6 months away, but I know building toward what we think will be a really good season.
Absolutely. Anytime you bring back off last year's varsity roster, we graduated one, and everybody else is coming back. And anytime that happens, it doesn't happen very often. Anytime it happens, it's always exciting off season as you prepare and guys step up and hopefully fulfill stronger roles than they did last year. So it's going to be fun.
Well, and you've got some guys that I think are going to get some college offers maybe. Start with Darian Boyd, one of the better players in the second region this year. Able to score, can go rebound for you when you need him to, can do a lot of things.
He can do a lot of things. Very versatile athlete, and probably one of our better rebounders. He's had a pretty good summer so far. Played very well against Marshall the other day, and then had a good camp at WKU. Talked to one of their coaches up there. So it's going to be fun to continue to follow him. And then once the dead period hits, he's playing AAU as well as some of these other guys, and to track their progress up until we put the Tiger uniforms back on.
Yeah. You mentioned you've played probably 11 or 12 games the last couple of weeks, but they've been some games against some pretty good teams.
They have. We played Webster and St. Mary here, and then yesterday or Tuesday we played Marshall County, Fulton City, and then at Western we were able to play some Bowling Green schools, Warren Central, Greenwood, Madison Southern, those kind of schools that we don't play very often. They're kind of other parts of the states, but the competition has been pretty good, and we've kind of held our own against it. So I was excited to see.
Yeah. What are you looking to get done during the summer? Are you trying to just get guys minutes? Are you trying to work on rotations, or exactly what are you looking for?
It's about getting guys minutes. It's about the rotation, and we've had some guys that have had to be out for certain reasons. So it's about getting guys on the floor, getting guys comfortable, getting different lineups on the floor. Going to team camp was good for us because we got to spend a lot of time together. A chemistry standpoint, I think that's very important when you get a bunch of young guys that. I told them actually yesterday at practice that I'm not considering them young anymore. They were, as sophomores, playing a lot of minutes last year. They were considered young, kind of thrown into the fire, but that's no longer the case. And so summer's about, building that chemistry, getting on the court together, then also, working on those individual skills, working on our ball handling, defensive principles, but it's more of an individual basis, especially once the dead period hits and we can't play games anymore. July will be focused on that.
Yeah, and I would think one thing that you might have a problem with this year is figuring out who to play, because you're going to have a whole lot of guys that can go out there and get things done.
You're exactly right. We bring, I think there's 7 guys that are coming back from last year's team that started a pretty significant amount of games at different points of the season. And it's from a coach's standpoint, it's a tough decision, but it's also a good problem to have when you have that many guys you can throw out there. And all those guys this summer have at different games have shown a lot of promise, a lot of good things that can help us win basketball games this year.
And not just playing, on your team in the high school. A lot of these guys are seeing action on other traveling teams as well this summer. So some of them played a whole bunch of games.
Some of them played a whole lot of games. They started. I know there's Tripp and Darian and Darius and Cole played a little bit. They started back right around spring break. The good thing about their AAU teams is they play until school's out or pretty close to it, and they have June off to kind of be with their high school teams, and they'll pick back up or actually pretty much after we're finished when the dead period starts and just continue to play. So it's another I don't want to say it's another season, but it's almost like another season with kind of a different team. So they're going to I'm not going to go months without playing games. They're going to be able to get on the court, compete against a lot of talent from across the country that are competitive athletes.
During the dead period, they can actually go and play with these travel teams and still be okay. So they actually get that time in and don't have to take a break.
That's exactly right. They can't use our facilities or pretty much I can't be talking to them, which they probably like about that. But it's good for them to go compete in other places.
Basketball is a sport that, at least in the second region, is really difficult to compete in, especially for a smaller school. And it looks like, again, from everything I can tell, that the Tigers will be really good this winter, this upcoming season. But when you start looking at the teams in the second region, you've got University Heights, the defending regional champion, and they've got one of the most heavily recruited kids, in this part of the country. Madisonville is probably going to be good in the district. So, man, you just got your work cut out for you when you start trying to compete in basketball.
We do, and the Hopkinsville district over there, Hopkinsville, UHA, and Christian, Fort Campbell, those typically, I think the last I forget how many years it is now. We're up close to 20 years. They represented us in the state tournament.
Yeah, it's like since 2000 or 2001.
Pretty close. And but I think we have a very tough district. I mentioned that we only lost one guy to graduation. I think the other three schools in our district are in the exact same boat we are. They didn't lose anybody. We saw Madisonville play at they were at WKU's team camp, and they're in the same boat we are. They've got a bunch of athletes. They got some size. They got some guys that can shoot the basketball. So then Central's got they bring back everybody, and they're just a very versatile team. So it's going to be a heck of a district tournament. We'll say that.
Madisonville, I think a lot of people are thinking maybe right behind University Heights in the region. So I mean, there you've got to try to overcome that just to get out of the district or to try to win the district. And we saw last year it's difficult to get out of the district because Hopkins County Central's sitting over there, and that team is really athletic.
They are. They're really athletic. They can shoot the basketball, and like I said, they don't lose anybody either. But I'm confident in the guys that we're going to put on the floor, and then the work that we're putting in now that we're going to be competitive and give the district a run for money and make a little noise in the region.
Looks like you should be really good offensively, especially we talked about Darian Boyd, and I thought last year he had a chance to average a double-double. Some of those rebounding numbers kind of fell off just a little bit there at the end, but not much. And you've got some other kids that can shoot the basketball. You've got good athleticism. Jameer takes care of the ball. Is a strong kid, can get to the basket. Seems like about the only thing we miss is a little size.
We do. We got a couple kids in the gym right now that we're trying to just to get to be a little more aggressive. I think we have the pieces that we need. We just need to have that aggressiveness to go with those pieces. And they're like I said, last year they were young and kind of thrown into the fire a little bit. But I think I'm happy with the progress they made, especially against Marshall County the other day. We had a solid game against Marshall County from a big standpoint. And like you said, it's going to require not having that 7-footer, or having I guess go back to the past, not having that Eli Pepper inside. It's
right.
going to, you want to put an emphasis on rebounding from 1 through 5, not just 4 and 5 guys.
But the Eli Peppers have been the exception at Caldwell County because we typically don't have that big guy.
You're right.
Go back through the years and some incredibly athletic people, but we just, for whatever reason, Caldwell County never produces that 6'8" guy outside of Eli, maybe.
Yeah, and Coach, let's go back real quick. I had a question when you talked about the aggressiveness and getting those guys in the gym and helping them. How do you do that? How do you build that aggressiveness and make them where they'll go up and get the basketball, or make them physically tough, I guess, to get in there and kind of bang around a little bit? How do you work on that?
Well, one of the things we do is make them go against each other every day in practice. Make them guard. Having Darian, who's a good sized guard. He's a tough matchup for some of our bigs, but putting him in there, putting his athletic ability in there, forcing them to, just specifically talking about rebounding, box him out, get a body on him. If they can keep him off the glass, I feel like they can. I agree. And so it's just about we're very capable. I think we're a little more passive than we need to be right now. And again, we were young last year, so hopefully that'll grow out. We'll mature a little bit. We'll see that we have a little more confidence in ourselves. And like I said, I'm excited about the guys we have in the gym. Cole, Smiley, and Jude East. Cole can shoot the basketball, and Jude's got a head on his shoulders, and his footwork is very, very good. But their personalities they're great. This whole roster that I have are great kids. Yeah. I don't have to worry about anything else, doing anything crazy. But I want to get that little fight in them and just have it come out in the consistent competitiveness.
Yeah.
Try to play mean a little bit.
Exactly.
Even if that's not their natural.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Spirited, yeah. And if you want to chime in, and be sure to remember that you can text us if you want to add a comment about anything we're talking about, 270-963-9038.
Do you do anything differently during the summer, trying to get people some minutes and see some things, or do you kind of play the style of basketball that you think you'll play, when the season gets here?
Well, you almost have to do. A lot of the games we play, we don't just play one game in a day. Like at Western, we played 2 games the first day, 3 games the second day, and had a situational tournament the first night there. So playing that many games in a day, your hand's kind of forced to play a lot more guys. And it's fortunate for us that we took 10 guys to Western, for example, and able to get lots of different guys in there in different positions, different kinds of lineups, and it was it was a good thing, and it helps. I think putting different lineups on the court and putting guys in different positions now in the summer, when obviously every coach wants to win every game, but it helps when the actual season gets here.
Okay. Well, one thing I want to ask you about is the schedule for this year. Have you kind of got that situated? And, of course, I know we've got our big tournament here, Hoops Classic again, so that's something we're all looking forward to again, too.
We have. We're about – I think we're maybe one game short of where having a full schedule. We've got a lot of good teams on the schedule, a lot of good matchups. Obviously, I think the district games will be all 6 of those will be fun games to watch. Hopefully for us, and then we picked up UHA, so we'll play them. I think we play them there this year, and they'll come back here the following year. So that'll be a good matchup there. And then, like you said, the Christmas tournament we're working, and we're trying to finalize some things there. I think we got 5 states that are coming. There'll be a lot of good matchups. This year they're all traditional high school teams. They all have, or most all of them have, at least one have a lot of size. We'll say that a couple of them have some near the 7-foot mark guys, and then they have some guys that are getting recruited by some Division I schools, and then some really good D2 and D3 schools. So it's going to be a fun event.
Yeah, the Bassey kid that played here last year for Aspire Academy, committed to Western Kentucky, so that's a pretty big get for them.
That's a very big get.
Very big. Did that surprise you any, Todd, when you heard that?
Well, I knew that they were in on him pretty quick. I thought maybe at some point that maybe UK or possibly Louisville would try to jump in, but Stansbury is a really good recruiter.
Yeah.
He was when he was at Mississippi State, and he's still a good recruiter, and I think he was able to jump in and get him, and that's a big body that a Western Kentucky or some of those schools don't always get.
Yeah, that's right, and boy, what a way. Western has a long tradition of great basketball, and that's a good get for them, and it'd be interesting to see how they build around that young man.
Well, and I'll be honest, the first game he played here last year, I wasn't overly impressed. It's like he had a little bit of jet lag or something.
Right.
Yeah.
But that second game, the other team, I think that was the game against the Cy-Fair team from Texas. I think they got into him a little bit, and he responded.
It was a spirited game.
Yes,
very spirited game. Very spirited game.
Well, looking at the stats a couple of weeks ago from last basketball season, just noticed how well we shot the basketball, especially from 3-point range. And I think with some of the guys getting a little older and a little stronger, and maybe you said more confident, I think that's something we can look for this year to be a big asset.
I agree. I think confidence is the key, but also I also think our IQ has gone up since last year of knowing when. Last year at times I thought we got 3 happy and still shot the ball pretty well, but knowing when to take it, when's a good 3, when's a bad 3, and I keep going back to Western, but Western was a good. I mentioned that situational tournament they had the first night we got there. We knocked down some big time 3s, and just to give you a little on that, it was basically a 3-minute game, coin toss at the very beginning, and one team started up 3 and one team started down 3 with the ball, and there were some foul situations going on there, but. Basically, you just played it out for 3 minutes. We made it to the semifinals. I think there was about 30 teams that participated in that, and we made some big-time 3s. And I remember John in overtime, I think Darian drove and kicked to the corner, and John made a contested three to win one of our games in that one. It was just I think it's knowing when to take those shots, and then having the confidence to know that we can step up and we can make those shots.
Well, it's that double-edged sword that 3-pointers can get you into the game, but sometimes you can shoot yourself right back out of it and keep firing them up. But that's kind of the way you can equalize size inside that you don't have. Absolutely. Is by being able to make those shots on the perimeter.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. And we talked a little bit when you first got here off the air, though, but I sort of felt like this team, it was a little streaky all last year. I mean, they would show signs of brilliance, and then it's like, who are these guys? But that's young men too.
Absolutely.
But yet, I really liked, especially toward the end of the season, some of the spunk, and it just seems like there was it's kind of a gelling coming on. If you had maybe 10 more games, but it's fun to watch, and I know that having this core come back is going to be really special for you.
Yeah, and we really felt like going into the postseason last year that if we could get to the regional tournament, maybe we could knock somebody off or make a little run.
Right.
And, of course, that Hopkins County Central game just kind of ended, and not to complain about the officiating, but there were a couple of calls that, you wish would have gone your way. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's going to be a fun year, and what a performance you guys had over there in Bowling Green and picking up these games. I've been following it on Twitter, and a lot to be excited about, I think, for this upcoming year.
I agree.
Good deal.
All right.
You got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. You're welcome to stick around and hang and talk. We're going to talk, I don't know, there's all kinds of good stuff.
Hey, we got a top five.
Yeah, we got a top five, and Todd's got a heck of a list. But we'll take a break right now. We're already 22 minutes in.
Wow.
Not quite. We started about 5 after. Yeah. So we will take a short break, and we'll be back. You're listening to the Sideline Report here on your hometown radio station, WPKY, The Tiger.
Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444. Whether it's a new addition to your home, a family vacation, or just keeping up with the bills, let ABC Finance and its friendly staff help you with your needs. ABC Finance can help you get through the tough times and the good times. Whatever life throws your way, ABC Finance can help. So stop by and see Jody, Sarah, or Virginia today at ABC Finance, located on 62 West, the Princeton Plaza in Princeton. Phone 270-365-7444.
Get spruced up this spring with quality mulch from Bashir Sawmill on Dawson Road in Princeton. We all know buying mulch by the truckload saves money, and it's only $25 per load for dark natural mulch at Bashir Sawmill on the Dawson Road, 1/2 mile past City County Park. Bashir Sawmill also buys standing timber and timberland. Give them a call today, 270-365-2330. That's Bashir Sawmill, family owned and operated in Princeton for over 50 years.
All right, we are back on the Sideline Report at 9:23. Todd, it's fun talking about hoops in the summertime. And anymore, one thing we talk about that it's just not, your sport's pretty much an all-year deal, except for the dead period.
Anymore, yeah. I think when I first got into the newspaper business, there were a couple of months over the summer that were kind of dead, for lack of a better term. I mean, you'd have the youth games going on to the ballpark, but that'd be about it. But anymore, you get everything going, and just high school sports are pretty much year-round at this point.
Yeah, it really is, and a lot to sounds like it's going to be a fun basketball season.
Well, and before Daniel got out, we were just talking a little bit about the Hoops Classic coming up, and they've got 9 boys teams, and I think we mentioned that a little bit while we were talking to him on the air, and a lot of those teams are really good. It's going to be really even, and if you look back to last year, man, that was a heck of a lineup. But you know what? Caldwell County played 2 really tough teams and played 2 really good games. They got a couple of losses in that thing. But I think seeing those kind of teams just really help you later on. And I think the Tigers finished last year 14-14, which, in and of itself is maybe not that impressive. But when you look at the teams in the second region and the teams the Tigers played, that was a pretty respectable showing.
It was.
And with all those guys coming back, you kind of want to see that team push forward and maybe try to go after 20 wins this year and see if they can take down Madisonville. I know that's a big chore, but that should be your goal to try to get there.
I agree, and I think 20 wins would be excellent, and not to put any kind of stipulation on them, of course, but you got to start somewhere. And look ahead and sort of reach goals. And I mean, with our schedule and who we have to play, that would be I would say an excellent season.
And one thing I forgot to mention, I was going to ask about the All-Lake Classic because we're not going to be in that this year. Caldwell County is just a little bit too big this year for the All-Lake Classic. There will be the second region thing, which is going to be interesting, but I think Caldwell County would have had a really good shot at that All-Lake Classic.
Yes.
I think it would have been Caldwell County and University Heights, which it's always going to be UHA. And with the Tandy kid over there, man, they look awfully good, not just for that All-Lake Classic. I mean, they might win the whole state in that thing, and then they look pretty good to get back to the state tournament at the end of the year, too.
Yeah, they do. And, we're just, we've got – there's a bar for us, and we just got to keep reaching for it.
Yeah, just got to keep pushing,
pushing. We talk about it with football, though, as well. Mayfield is the standard, so to speak, and, we're right there on the cusp and have been. I mean, we've beaten them. Our program is fantastic. We've had some great success against them. We're, regional, games each and every year, but regional championships, but there's a certain level there that you just have to keep reaching for.
Well, and sometimes, those goals look unattainable.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, we had one region championship in baseball in our entire history.
Right.
And then we won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And we're in the mix again this year. The Lady Tigers softball program has struggled some the last few, 10, 15 years. It's had some good years and some bad years, but
regional championship game.
Made it to the regional championship game this year.
About won it.
Took that thing to 9 innings,
yeah.
And a ball drops in here or there, or one play, and they would have gone to state and have been the second region champions, and that's in a region that has Christian County, which was ranked in the top 5 in the state, and Madisonville North Hopkins, which was defending state champion going into the postseason this year.
Exactly.
So, you can compete with those teams.
No doubt.
No, it's not easy, and, you're not always going to get there, but I think that should be your goal going into the season, or you're kind of cheating yourself a little bit.
No doubt about it. And, of course, the Lady Tiger softball team different next year. We'll have some coaching changes there. So be interesting
still
to see
a
how
lot
that
of
works.
talent.
Oh, yeah, a lot of talent. So
and still going to be, I think, one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the region.
No doubt about
it. But volleyball is consistently competitive in the region. Our football team has been in the regional championship game for 6 years running.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, and I hate it, but girls soccer last year played for a regional championship.
That's exactly right.
So it can be done.
Right, and there's no doubt about it. And we talk about this all the time on this show. Is that you go back to when, of course, it's a different era, different time when we were in high school, not near the overall sports success. Of course, we didn't have as many sports,
right?
But it was tougher to have the consistent success,
right,
on some of these sports. But Caldwell County has been consistently successful in several sports now. So we got a lot, there's a lot to be proud of there.
Well, and I've been pretty fortunate, working at the newspaper and doing sports.
Seen it all.
to have had some really good teams to cover.
Yes.
The one thing that I haven't got to experience from, the sports reporter standpoint is standing on the floor at Rupp Arena and seeing a Caldwell County basketball team take the floor to warm up for a state tournament.
That's right.
So, I'm all for that if we could ever get to that.
I got a feeling that, it might just happen.
I've seen a football team win a state championship. I've seen another team play in a state championship. I've seen the girls softball team, play in that final game at the state tournament and be state runner-up. And, we've had state champions in golf, Emma Talley.
Yes, we have.
We've had a lot of things, but, it would really be nice to one time be able to stand on that floor at Rupp Arena and look and see the blue and gold come running out of the tunnel. That'd be sweet.
That would be very sweet. And you never know, man. That's what's so great about athletics. And sometimes it'll sneak up on you. You may think, well, we don't have much of a team this year, and then boom. Or, Just like and you know, we had high expectations for a baseball team this year. They had a great year.
Right.
They had a great year. You know, you get to, you know, in the regional tournament, anything can happen. If you have a bad game, you're out. You know.
Well, and the Tigers lost to the team that have played in the regional championship game the last 3 years now.
That's
so.
right. That's right. And you know, the consistency of that team has been, you know, pretty good. You know, that's a tough team. And you know, that matchup going in was a little bit like, you know, we got to play some good baseball. You know, we didn't play our best baseball.
Well, the stars just have to align sometimes.
That's right.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think every team that wins anything caught a break somewhere along the way, or you know,
no doubt about it.
We mentioned that, you know, a line drive that gets caught instead of being a base hit can swing a ball game, or just anything.
I harken back. I was watching. I love to get on YouTube, watch old clips of old games. So, you remember the Atlanta Braves Minnesota Twins series? It was a great series.
I remember the series a little bit,
and I forget which year, in early '91, maybe somewhere around there. Kent Herbeck and Ron Gant. I don't remember. There was a critical point in the game. Gant smashes a base hit down the line. Well, it wasn't really down the line. It was somewhere where it was fielded. Gant gets to first base, and he kind of makes the turn, but he kind of steps back on, and Kent Herbeck gets the throw. And as he gets the throw, he kind of catches his leg and kind of pulls him off first.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that play. But it was a critical point in the game, and I think there was a hit later on, and if Gant, they called Gant out, but if Gant was on, it might have changed that series, just that one play, because I think they would have scored the extra one and could have won that game. So that's one play, one example of how something freakish can pretty much turn the tide of something totally, if you think about it. Now, there are other things, you know, that teams have to do during the course of a game to win. It's not usually just one play that gets you.
Well,
sometimes that just kills you.
Just ask St. Louis Cardinals fans about the Don Dinkinger call in the 1985 World Series against the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah.
That's a call that if it goes the other way, the Cardinals probably, you know, we don't know for sure. You never know how everything's going to play out after something happens.
Yeah.
Cardinals probably have another World Series championship because they were up in that game. It was late. They had their closer on the mound. So, again, you can go back to all those calls, but you never know how things play out after that. That's the rub.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the rub.
You can say, well, if they had played out this way, but if that call had been different, they would not have played out that way.
Right.
So we never know.
You never know. But it's that's what makes sports kind of fun. It really
that's why
does.
we talk about it. That's
why
we're here.
Yeah.
That in our top five.
Yeah, man, is it that time?
How about that transition?
That's pretty good, man. You're putting it to good use. Your old radio,
like an old radio guy.
I think you're first this week.
Oh, okay. I've actually got a tie.
Let's tell everybody what they are, though.
Oh yeah, so this is our top 5 favorite songs, or maybe most played songs from the old WPKY.
Back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day.
At least 30-some years ago.
The mid 80s,
Yeah.
late 80s, maybe even early 90s.
Yeah. We probably, depending on what songs we got in here. Yeah.
Although I think I may have some songs that don't exactly fit that time frame, but they're close.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I don't, but I just want to do my favorites. So that was in the rack.
And next week is probably going to be the 5 songs that we forgot this week.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work.
Okay, I've got a tie at number 5
Okay.
because that's just the way my list went. The Dream Academy, Life in a Northern Town.
Love it, man. Oh, man, that should have made my list. That might be on my list next
I
week.
love that song.
I love that song.
And not only that, but, you know, if you're a big King of the Hill fan, you'll remember that song from Buckley's Ghost.
Okay.
After he got killed in the explosion at Megalomart.
Okay, and they played Life in Northern.
And I just always wanted to say Megalomart, but but he got killed. You know, it was the big thing. You know, which character gets killed? Well, it was Buckley, who was Luann's boyfriend.
I went a long time without watching TV, Todd. So you're talking over my head. But that's
okay.
This
is King of the Hill's like what 20 years ago
but
now.
I hadn't watched much TV. It sounds weird.
They need to bring it back. If they're bringing everything else
back,
back,
it was a great show when I did
bring
see
back
it.
King of the Hill.
Yeah, that's a Mike Judge deal, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But enough about King of the Hill. And the other one, Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac, because you could grab the Rumors album and play just about anything.
Yeah.
So those are that's number 5.
But I got something to tell you.
Okay.
Gypsy and on Rumors.
I was not on Rumors?
No.
Oh.
It's on Tango in the Night, I think.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
We'll look it up during the break. We need somebody here to fact check.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
I know it's not. I know it's not on Rumors, but it's a great song.
Okay.
But my number 5 is Force MD's Tender Love.
Oh wow, yes, that got played a bunch.
Remember that?
You could always cue that up for after the news, just kind of smooth back into the music.
But you did say Gypsy, right? I can look that up.
I did say Gypsy.
Okay.
I was going to say Hold Me because, that's right there, too.
I love that one, too.
But it was really just I wanted to get Fleetwood Mac on my list someplace. So.
Yeah, you got to have Fleetwood Mac on your list. I'm just going to say what album is Gypsy on. It's a great...
Okay, well, I'll go to my number 4 while you're looking that up. My number 4 is Eddie Rabbitt's I Love a Rainy Night.
Wow. I'm really surprised at that one. That's a great song.
I was hoping to catch you off guard with a couple of these, but
you
I loved playing that song. And I just love the song for one thing, but it was one of those staples from the old WPKY.
Boy, it is. That is something. I'm impressed by that. I love a rainy. It is, and that was a great one. Boy, I've got a tie here. Actually, it is off. It's off the same. It's off Mirage.
Oh,
it's off
that's
Mirage.
right.
It's off Mirage that Hold Me's on as well.
Okay.
It's off Mirage. Hold Me's on that one too. I knew we grabbed that one a lot because I played Hold Me and Gypsy an awful lot. I've got a tie here at number 4. I've got off Damn the Torpedoes. Uh-oh. I said damn, Beavis. Here Comes My Girl.
Yeah.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. But I also have Steppin' Out by Joe Jackson.
Remember wow, album? Yes. Steppin' Out was almost on my list.
Yeah, so I got Steppin' Out and Here Comes My Girl tied for
it was
4.
part of those 20 songs that, I rearranged about 20 times.
Yeah. So that's my number 4's tie.
Okay. Number 3, Beat It by Michael Jackson.
And it's hard to not play Thriller from '83, is it?
How many times did that album get played? Just look at the entire album.
Yeah, I can see it today, but yeah, and I must tell you though, I'm not a big Michael Jackson fan. So,
but that album though,
that's you had to play it. If you weren't a fan, you said, I didn't dislike it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a huge. I didn't get caught up into. Now my brother did. He had a sequin glove and everything, and the jacket.
The red jacket
he had
with
the red
the
jacket
zippers
and the sequin glove. Yeah, boy, he's going to kill me for ratting him out on that. But most of his class know it anyway because he showed up at a middle school dance in '83 with that stuff on. Man,
good story. Yeah.
It is a great story. He's going to kill me. That's the truth. So that was your number 4, right?
3.
That was your number 3.
Yeah.
That was Beat It by Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going over to the 45 rack.
Okay.
We had a rack against the wall there that had all kinds of 45s, and they were mainly older stuff.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite songs anyway, but I always grab this 45, and it's the Rolling Stones' Tumbling Dice.
Oh, yeah.
You hear it a lot on the Tiger now, but I love playing that 45 of Tumbling Dice, and I there were several others that kind of came to my mind over there off that 45 rack that we had, but that was my number 3.
Well, it was difficult to get over there and go through all the records.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and they were by after, if you had Rolling Stones, it should have been in the R, should have been, but sometimes if it was Tumbling Dice, it could have been in the T's
or in the S's for Stones.
Yeah. So it was a little bit tricky to try to find records over there, but I went over there a lot because there was a lot of neat old stuff over there. And every once in a while, you'd find one that was engraved.
Oh, yeah. the ones you couldn't play.
Do not play
this.
this.
Do not play.
So anyway.
I think you'll like my number 2.
I bet I will.
Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers from the Damn the Torpedoes album, Refugee.
Yep.
I may have played that song more than even my number 1.
Yeah.
That was the go-to album.
That album came out in 1978, and we're talking about an era we were there in the early to mid 80s, and that was just one that had several hits off of it, and it's just classic Tom Petty. So
I think "Don't Do Me Like That" was on there.
"Don't Do Me Like That" was on there. There was a couple of deep cuts on there, like "Louisiana Rain" that I played every time. "Here Comes My Girl." And Shadow of a Doubt was kind of good too. They're all good, but I used to kind of spin some of those deeper cuts that weren't really hits. So off that record. Number 2, 1984, about Christmas time, maybe November. Wore this one out. Building the Perfect Beast album The Boys of Summer, Don
Oh,
Henley.
yeah, that was a good one. That did get played a lot. I'd forgot about that one, but it did.
That did, and I still love that song to this day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I never get old. Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers actually, co-wrote that song with Don Henley, and his guitar licks there at the end are just tasty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and now I feel bad because I don't have any Eagles stuff or any,
I don't have any Eagles
any
either.
other solo stuff.
And we tore the Eagles up on there.
Yeah.
I about had I Can't Tell You Why off the Long Run. I played the Long Run too, but I mean I can't tell you why I burned it up off the Long Run album.
I remember playing Take It Easy a lot for some reason.
That was on the 45. When it was on the Greatest Hits that we had there, Greatest Hits album, I think. I
can't remember.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, you think of the Glenn Fry stuff from the 80s. I mean,
there you go.
You Belong to the City. I mean,
it came off a lot of the Miami Vice stuff. Remember, he would guest star on Miami Vice, and that Smuggler's Blues was on there. And that was a big hit. I mean, of course, we were the AC. We were an adult contemporary format.
Right.
Todd was actually the program director for a while, and he would actually. We had a service that would send us records, but then he eventually got where he would just go buy 45s.
Yeah, at Hopkinsville at the music store.
That's right. Yeah. You got all the music. So.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, you'd go over there. I remember you take the chart and pull the 45s or the albums if there were several more on there. So,
well, you wanted to pick the albums that were going to have several hits.
Exactly.
You didn't want to buy an album if it only had that one hit on it.
Exactly. You go buy the 45.
So, right.
And somebody's sitting there going, "What's 45?"
Yeah, 45 what?
What's an album?
Yeah. Okay, so we're up to number 1. I know we need a drum roll. This is the song I always think about when I think of the old radio station back in the day.
Okay.
And it's Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah, hard to beat that.
That's one of my favorite songs ever. Anyway,
me too. Isn't that weird?
But I mean,
it didn't make my list either.
But as soon as I hear that song, I think of the radio station.
I do too. That's one of those I think of the radio station, and that's going to have to be on my other list because this is another one of those. And I don't know why. It's another 45 pick because this came out about 81. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic by the Police.
That's a good one.
That's one of my favorite songs.
You could have gone a lot of ways with the Police. As a matter of fact, I actually had some of the Synchronicity album.
83, yep.
That,
and we had that whole album there.
Every Breath You Take.
Wrapped Around Your Finger.
I mean, of course, Synchronicity 2 is my favorite Police song.
Oh, it's bad.
Ever.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a little rocking for
the
old WPKY, but I still snuck it in every now and then.
I love Synchronicity too. Yeah, and you could sneak that.
So I mean, we've got other lists that we didn't even do that.
Well, like I said, about probably if I made this list 15 minutes later, I probably wouldn't have the same 5 songs on there because we played so many songs, but there's so many great memories of that. And that's what's cool about the format that we have here now because a lot of the same stuff we played back then, we're playing now here on our format now.
So do we have the Pet Shop Boys lined up to go after the show?
Boy, if I can, I think I might. Because we were talking before we got off to Todd. Every time Todd would come on the air after me when I was signing on, sometimes I would follow him when he was signing on. But I'll never forget when the Pet Shop Boys album came out. I forget the name of the name of the record.
Oh, I can't remember.
But anyway, it was their debut album, I think. And there was a song on there called West End Girl. So I'd be getting out in my car and I'd hear the intro, I'd almost just go ahead and cue it up for you.
It was a mammoth hit, though, for them back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it gets sampled all the time now.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
So, I mean, the Pet Shop Boys have, inspired all kinds of music.
No doubt about it. Let me see if I got it. I don't know if I got it. I think I got it. I might have to just put it in there, but keep talking.
And I also like to play Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone by Glass Tiger. I always kind of
yeah.
Do you remember that song?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anybody else remembers Glass Tiger.
I remember Glass Tiger, and, of course, Survivor had a lot of hits back then, too.
I almost had Eye of the Tiger because we played that. It just fit in, with.
Taylor Dane is another artist that people know. Who's that? But we played, Let Me Be Your Shelter.
Gloria Estefan got played a whole lot.
She did. It was a neat time. And again, we were an adult contemporary format, so it wasn't real hard stuff, and it wasn't soft. I mean, it's sort of soft. But
that's a tricky format, though, because Remember the song Don Johnson had out? What was it called?
Yeah.
It was a really heavier sounding song, but it was on the adult contemporary list. So
it was.
You know, sometimes a heavier sounding song would
What's the
actually
name of
make
that
it on
song?
there.
Don Johnson. I remember that. And of course, again,
Is it like
what's-
Heartbreak or something like
yeah,
that?
Heartbreak, something like that. And isn't that funny that Don? Oh, speaking of WPKY, and I remember the Donnie Most album.
No, I don't remember that one.
Yeah. We had a Donnie Most album out there from Happy Days.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't remember that.
Oh yeah,
Maybe it's in there someplace.
Yeah, there was a
It's in my
Donnie
brain
Most.
somewhere.
Now we didn't play it on. I think it was one of those Sunday morning type deals. It might have been like a religious album or a gospel album.
Now I remember the Elvis gospel albums that we had.
You
Those
can't
were good.
beat that. Yeah, we still play some of that here.
Yeah.
So we could talk about this forever. We don't want to bore you, but chime in if you remember a song on WPKY. You're more than welcome to 963-9038. But pretty good list, not bad.
Like I said, I'm sure we'll think of other stuff.
Yeah.
As the days go on. It's usually right after you do your list, you remember things that you should have.
Yeah, like I
put
said,
on there.
I can probably do another 5 here, and be totally different. But that's fun to do. It's kind of fun to reminisce about those days. It was fun working for Twyman and Betty, and Mr. Goodacre. It was good days.
Yeah, we did have some fun out there. Anyway,
There's no doubt about it. Sports-wise, man.
Well, we were just talking high school basketball and talking about how long the high school season actually goes. The high school sports season isn't over yet.
Heartbeat by Don Johnson.
Heartbeat.
That's
I knew it was,
Bruce.
I knew it was somewhere around there.
Bruce McAllister, thank you.
State baseball is still going on. We still got 4 teams left before the current high school sports season is complete. And tomorrow you got Hazard versus St. X and Highlands versus McCracken County in the state semifinals. And then Saturday night, the championship game is in Lexington. Man, I wish we would have got to have made that trip this year to see Caldwell County one more time up there. But that was a lot of fun, and good luck to those teams. And at this point, kind of pulling from McCracken County to bring that thing back home to Western Kentucky.
Why not? Who is there a favorite team? Is it St. X probably favorite?
St. X is probably the
That's what I was
favorite, but
thinking,
I would think McCracken County is right behind them.
Right behind them. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at the rankings going in, but I know St. X was up there. McCracken County was
Right
up
there
there.
behind
I mean,
them,
McCracken County has just dominated its first 2 teams, and just rolling and.
They're pitching pretty well?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it all comes down to that.
It does. It does. That's what I say. If you got good pitching and if your rotation's set right and you have a good performance on the mound, it's hard to beat that.
And the state softball tournament, just completed this
yep.
past weekend with Scott County
Yep.
winning the championship. An interesting thing about softball, Scott County,
Yeah.
yes, the state's largest school. Although I think that's about to change. There's another high school coming in up there.
I've heard that.
And McCracken County is kind of making its way up that list too, as far as the largest schools in the state. So it'll be interesting to see how some of that shakes out. But I thought it was a really good softball season, locally especially,
Yes.
and some changes coming to the postseason landscape for softball. This was the last year of the double elimination state softball tournament.
Okay.
Next year it goes to single elimination, and there's been a lot of talk about that. I'm not sure that I like going to single elimination. However, I think the KHSAA in the last 10 years or so has made a concerted effort to try to make things, as even or as like as possible to try to make a level playing field for each sport. Baseball has a single elimination state tournament, so I guess by that sense, it
just doing
seems right to do it in softball. And I think there's another factor at play when you have so many games that you have to get in. And they used to play the state softball tournament over 2 days. Now they do it over 3. They go ahead and play that first round a day early, or have been.
Right.
We're not doing the double elimination thing anymore. But that's so many games to get in. You have to have a complex that has 4 fields. There aren't a lot of those really great complexes around that are set up to host a state tournament.
Okay.
I think Owensboro up at Jack
Sets
Fisher
up
Park,
just as nice as any place.
did as good a job as
Yeah.
possible. But I know there's been some complaints. If you read message boards or see some things on Facebook that state baseball plays at a minor league baseball facility, and now you've got softball playing at, I guess you call it a rec facility or a rec park.
If they played at a larger park, though, if it was a baseball park, they'd have to put up a softball fence, wouldn't they?
Yes, but what can happen now if you go to single elimination and maybe even do it over a couple of weekends like they do the state baseball tournament, you could get a University of Kentucky to host it,
Yeah,
a
gotcha.
University of Louisville.
Gotcha.
There
You
are
just
lots
have
of
a
other
softball field ready to go there.
There are lots of
Yeah.
other smaller colleges in the state that have really nice
facilities.
softball and baseball
It's
complexes.
the matter of getting the games in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to single elimination, you're looking at playing 15 games for the tournament as opposed to 30-something
And
for a double elimination.
in a similar format than what the baseball
Right.
tournament's like. Yeah.
You can play one game at a time. At double elimination, there's no way to play one game at a time. You'd never get finished. You have to have 4 fields going on. It's like when we went up for the All-A Classic this year. You've got all those fields going in one day just trying to get your round-robin part of that tournament in, and then you come back the next day and try to finish, and you have to have all those fields. It takes 4 fields to get that thing in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to depend on who bids for, state softball, and right now that's anybody's guess.
Will that take place next year?
Yes,
Okay.
for next season,
Okay.
it will be a single elimination.
Okay.
I'm thinking that the University of Kentucky will put in for that.
Okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't. Right now boys basketball is at Rupp Arena. Football was just moved this past year to
the Kroger.
formerly known as Commonwealth Stadium
Yeah.
at UK. And I think it helps the KHSAA to have those events in Lexington.
Because that's where their offices
Right.
are, right?
And it saves some money. They don't have to spend a
Some
week
management
wherever
expenses
else.
and things, yeah.
So to me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, there are other really good facilities out there that they could host this, but the biggest thing is going from double elimination to single elimination allows you to just need that one field, and you can make each game, be more important.
Yeah.
Instead of going to this tournament and being one of 4
we can
games
lose and then maybe
losing
yeah.
twice and being done, now you get, each team gets to be a spotlight.
Yeah.
But you only get to lose one time. So now the draw becomes the big thing, kind of like baseball has been. It depends on what kind of draw you get. And unfortunately for Caldwell County, the 2 years that the Tigers went to state baseball, they drew one of the toughest teams up there in Scott County.
Yeah, that's right. And, maybe, we got a lot of good things to look forward to. So, like you said, if we stand, we might see basketball at Rupp Arena. We might
That'd be sweet.
Be back in Lexington for softball or baseball. So that'll be kind of fun as well. Off the actually fields this week, all kinds of other news. Just looking at Twitter feeds and things, saw where Mitchell Harrelson has decided to
Play football. Yeah, he's
at
committed.
He's committed
at
to
Western Kentucky
Yeah.
University. So yeah.
So to play football and to continue his education. So congratulations to that young man. He's worked hard.
And joins another former Tiger. D. Kane is up
yeah,
there. So
yeah.
and our man that runs Western Kentucky University, Chris George.
Yeah.
There's another former
Yeah,
Tiger that's up
all
there.
kinds of, and of course, a lot of, that's the college choice of many Caldwell County kids. A lot of Caldwell County folks over at Western, a lot of alum here. So that's good stuff.
Mitchell, I believe, is going to be a long snapper,
Yeah.
and he's really worked at that.
Yes.
You could go up to the high school football field a lot during the summer and see he and his dad up there working on
out,
things.
Yeah,
And
they've been all of the, did the Coles camps and did the whole circuit, and that was a big thing I think as well. Not only the hard work he put in, but to be recognized at all those camps and performing well.
I did like that Mitchell put on Twitter, though, that, still work to do. We have a state championship to win.
There
this
you go.
fall.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
That's exactly right. So still got some work to do on the football.
And we do have big hopes for the approaching football season. We've talked about that. We think the Tigers are going to be really good again. And quite frankly, people may not realize this, but football season starts tonight.
Yeah.
The Canadian Football League has
does.
games tonight.
The CFL. Well, now, if you wanted to check out some football, who do you follow in the CFL, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. At one point, I used to say the Rough
Toronto
Riders.
Argonauts. Remember them?
Yeah, they have the Montreal Alouettes.
Okay, yeah.
Tonight's game actually has the Edmonton Eskimos at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Nice.
7:30 on ESPN2.
I've checked that out. And, of course, it's a little bit different game. up in Canada.
Yeah,
a
it's
little bit different.
The field's a little longer. It's a little wider. There's an extra guy out there. You
Yeah.
only get 3 downs as
so I'm
opposed
saying
to
you only get
4.
3 downs. Yeah.
The defense has to line up a yard off the football.
Yeah.
So it's different, but it's football.
Yeah.
If you're missing your football fix, then ESPN2 tonight for Edmonton and Winnipeg. I kind of like the Blue Bombers because they've got the blue and gold going on, and it's kind of the old shiny gold, not the yellow. Uniforms look cool. So
that is cool. Is Emma taking the weekend off?
Yes,
I
she's
thought
not
she was.
playing this week.
Yeah, that's the major LPGA Classic.
Yeah, so
got
to take a few breaks. I mean, the season will just wear you down.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. And then of course they're going to be at they're going to do the Walmart thing next week. And I think
that's in Arkansas.
That's in Arkansas. I think she's back. She'll play that one. I think.
I think so.
I think that's one. So anyway, so that's cool. So yeah, you need a little break.
Yeah, and talking about CFL, if you miss it tonight, there's a game tomorrow night on ESPN2, and then there's 2 Saturday night. You can watch a doubleheader of football action.
Is it all on ESPN2 this year?
Yeah, most of it. Not every game, but I think if you have the ESPN Plus thing, you can get just about every game from the CFL. So there's not much you can't watch anymore.
No, there's not. And if you can't watch it like on a subscribed service, then you can just stream it somewhere.
Right.
If you got a good internet and capabilities to do that, you can just stream it. So.
And I'm so excited the XFL is starting back up. I still miss the USFL. It's been 30 years, but I still miss it.
Vince McMahon, right? Yeah. Is he bringing it back?
For the XFL, yes. Love having those extra options for football. I miss spring football. It was great there for a while when you could go from the NFL season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and then just, hey, here's some more football for you.
And then we would go right into it. And of course, with our Caldwell County football team, dead period's going to be over here, and you'll start seeing guys out on the fields, and maybe and it'll be here before we know it. I think we're on the countdown. We're what, 80? I don't know, 80 some games. Maybe 80 some days, 75, 80 something.
It gets here awfully quick. Like I said, once you get into July and everybody starts practicing,
it's here.
August gets on you before you realize it, and
then late August, man, you're playing.
Usually
you're scrimmaging.
Usually by the last week in July, we're taking pictures. For the preview sections in the newspaper. So, a lot of people I don't think realize how much work goes on. The teams put in and the newspaper guy puts in.
Prepping
before the season gets going, because
no
all those preview sections hit one right after another with football and soccer and volleyball and.
It's a very busy time.
You have to have all those things kind of.
Yeah, I mean, because these fall sports, man, there's a bunch more going on than back in the day, as we always say.
It used to be football.
It used to be football. That's right. It used to be
that was
football.
Your fall sport.
And now we got soccer and different fall sports. So yeah.
But I mentioned the XFL because I don't know if you remember the movie The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I do a little
about
bit.
the cloning.
Yes.
Well, the weird thing was, of course, the XFL only lasted 1 year, but that was long enough for them to make a movie about the future. And
XFL?
The movie starts at a football game, and it's at an XFL football game.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the movie, I think, was 2001, and it's set in the distant future of 2015.
The distant future,
of 2015,
That's now well in the windshield.
In
the back windshield.
There's a quarterback, Johnny Phoenix, who plays for the Los Angeles Roadrunners.
Okay.
Who,
like the name.
Who keeps getting killed, and they bring him back as a clone.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, everybody's, homework for the evening is watch The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I know of the movie, but I haven't seen it.
But anyway, it's an okay movie. If you like science fiction, you'll like it. But the thing that always sticks out with me is there's a pro football game at the very first of that movie, and it's an XFL game.
Well, let's talk about the XFL. We talked about Canadian being different. Tell me about the XFL. And is it a shorter field, or do we know what they're going to do?
Well, we don't know yet. The old XFL threw out pretty much all the rules, and you could pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
The new XFL is not going to do some of those things. It's going to be a whole lot more straightforward. However, they say the average game time is going to be about 2 hours as opposed to 3 or 3.5 hours. So I'm not sure how they're going to get there. We're not sure the rules yet. It doesn't start until not next year, but the next year, 2020, I believe.
Okay, but it'll
And they
look
don't have any,
like football.
Yeah,
though.
it will be football. They don't have any franchises awarded yet. They will all be owned by the league.
Okay.
I really expect St. Louis to end up with a team in that thing because I think you'll see cities like St. Louis and San Diego. And
Will they play inside, outside, both?
St. Louis probably play inside.
Okay, so this will be. You might
Yeah, I
have
mean,
it on-
it'll be actual.
I enjoy arena football from time to time. If
Yeah.
I see that, I watch it.
Birmingham's always had a team. It seems like every upstart league that comes up with
Yeah,
football,
Birmingham
Birmingham
gets a
has a
team,
team. So be interesting to see if they go with the Stallions like the old USFL.
Birmingham Stallions,
Would love to see them bring back. I don't know about copyright issues.
That's pretty
I don't know if
cool.
somebody still holds the old USFL copyrights.
That's pretty
probably
cool.
Trump.
Probably.
But that'd be cool if they would bring some of those old team names back and some of those old color schemes and uniforms and play those
Well,
things.
and that's what's kind of fun about these new leagues is seeing the color schemes and the uniforms.
It would kind of give you an instant fan base, or at least the start of one, to kind of resurrect an old franchise somehow.
I'm still waiting for the Bucks to bring back Bruce the Buccaneer and the orange and white uniforms.
Oh wow, yeah. See, I love those uniforms.
I loved them, man, and I hope to see them again someday. So,
but yeah, if you like football, it's football time. You know,
it is. It is.
And high school is not far behind. The U.S. Open golf started today.
Yes, it did.
Who you got in that?
You know what's so funny? I saw a review. I mean, Dustin Johnson obviously playing very well, and it's a lot of times I think
Yeah, that guy's unreal.
they carry over. You know what I'm saying? You come off a great tournament, but you look at you look at golf. There's a lot of parity out there, and on any given tournament. It's who's hot. I think you got to throw Johnson in there. A lot of people think Tiger Woods will be around on Sunday.
Wouldn't it be sweet to get to Sunday and see that final pairing be Tiger and Phil?
That's what, and I was just going to go there. I'd love to see Lefty.
Yeah.
Up there, and I think then you got to throw your Rory McIlroys, your Ricky Fowlers, and those kind of folks in there. So. I don't get to watch golf as much as I used to. I love watching golf on TV, but those are just some of the names. I hope to see just some of the guys that maybe haven't won, but we know that in golf, whether it's Jordan Spieth or whoever's hot, sort of tends to be around on the weekend for those tournaments.
I think it's going to come down to short game at the U.S. Open because they get those greens so fast and so hard, and it's tough to get on. It's tough to make putts.
And I don't know much about that course, so but it's always you better have that game.
Yeah, I mean
going.
That's the U.S. Open course is typically the most difficult course those guys face.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun, as a hacker, to watch those guys have to struggle to grind out pars when that's what a lot of us are just trying to do every day.
Bogey. But anyway, it's going to be really cool, and it's a fun weekend when you have a major tournament going. If you get a chance to relax on a Sunday afternoon, turn the TV on for a few hours, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah,
especially if you've got guys going back and forth and lead changes and stuff like that.
Well, I watch golf the way I watch a lot of other sports sometimes, and I kind of pull for a playoff. You just want to see like 4 or 5 guys all tied and have to go to a playoff.
Yeah.
And
it's neat.
Have that drama and who's going to win.
I love the drama, and I even go back still. I love going back. I mean, YouTube's great, but I love watching old classic golf. You remember the putt that Tiger had? I think it was at the Masters, and I forget what year it was. The one, it was on Sunday because he had the red shirt and the black pants on. But the one he's just off the green a little ways, but he has to putt it up the green, and it almost makes a loop and comes back down. You remember that putt? I think it was on.
There was a chip on 16.
That's a chip on 16. That's what it is. It's a chip.
Yeah.
It was a chip right off the side.
And
there.
the ball stops at the edge of the cup.
And I think I forget who the announcer is, but he goes, "In your life, have you ever seen anything like that?"
That was probably Vern Lundquist.
I think it was Vern. I think it was Vern Lundquist. But I watched that over and over again. It's one of the most amazing chips I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, Tiger was unreal when he had everything going on, and he's trying to get back to that. He's getting closer.
He is, and these major golf tournaments are fun, and like I said, it just you just never know what Sunday.
Yeah. A few other sports news notes. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Drew Harrington was released by the Braves this week. But the good news is he's going to the White Sox organization, so hopefully he finds a spot there. I haven't seen if he's been assigned to a team yet, but hopefully a lot of that's just finding a spot, where you can fit in and
we all
show
know,
everybody what you can do.
And we know at that level too that baseball teams are jockeying for different kind of players. It might not mean that he wasn't doing that great or whatever. It just means that they might have a need there, and this situation I think was a little different, but he's still playing baseball, and that's the good thing.
Drew is a Princeton native. Yeah. He played at Central Hardin, I believe, in high school, and was one of the top players in the state that year. Yeah. Was a standout at the University of Louisville.
Exactly, College World Series. And
so that's a Princeton kid that's out there playing for us.
Son of Greg and Tanya Harrington, and grandson of the Murdochs. Yeah.
So good to see. And he's had some injuries, and I don't know if that led to being released or not, but hopefully he can find his way back.
Yeah, and we certainly wish that young man success. Shane Burns pitching well over for the Hoptown Hoppers. If you ever get a chance to go over there and see those. And, of course, we saw, several of our Caldwell County players, continuing their careers and their education. So
Shane is signed with Murray State,
right.
And I think Murray State maybe – sometime in the near future will announce their new baseball coach.
Yeah.
A lot of people are anxiously awaiting that.
Sure they are. And, I don't know the situation behind Coach Mulder, but, it was announced just a couple weeks ago that he was leaving. So.
And one other thing, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Dwayne Casey was recently named the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons.
I think I did see that. Yes, indeed.
So
a little UK connection there.
Well, and from Union County.
Union County, yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I actually have a Dwayne Casey story.
Yeah, let's tell that.
Several years ago, and I can't remember exactly how far back now, but it's been a few years.
I know I've met him somewhere.
But was asked to put together a top 10 list of basketball players in the second region because they were going to use that at some point in the future to help honor some of these guys with the different Hall of Fames that were coming along, the Kentucky High School Basketball Hall of Fames. And, of course, I had the Smith brothers on my list and all these other great second region players. And it was tough to narrow it down to 10. And there was a bunch of us in the second region that put this list together. And then one list was combined. I think 9 of my guys actually made the list. The one guy that I had that didn't was Dwayne Casey.
Really?
And I actually wrote an article about that. And this goes back to, I've mentioned before that there are no local stories anymore because of the internet and social media and whatnot.
Exactly.
Everything is basically an international story because anybody can see it. So I actually wrote a column saying that, I was glad to have 9 of the guys, but the one guy that I didn't have was, I had Dwayne Casey and they had somebody else. A couple of days later, I get an email from Dwayne Casey.
Wow.
Thanking me for remembering him. And at the time, he was an assistant coach with the Dallas Mavericks. And, of course, I told him if he was ever in the area, to stop by. Thinking maybe he'd bring, Dirk Nowitzki with him and whatever. But that's my
it sounds
Dwayne
like you need to line him up for the
story.
Sideline report since on his new head coaching job.
Maybe I could.
I'd
have to look into that.
I'd email him this afternoon.
But I think he was with Toronto
Raptors
last season. I think.
Okay.
I think they were the number 1 seed in the East and got beat in the first round. But
so he's going to be head coach for the Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
Wow, fantastic. I think I read that somewhere.
He's from Union County, and of course Union County's had some good basketball players. Remember Freddie Cowan when he was at UK.
Cowan,
so and Dwayne Casey was on staff at UK, and of course that's a whole big story. But
yes, that's good stuff though, man.
Casey's actually gone on and done really well for himself in the NBA.
Yeah, certainly has. How old a guy is he? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit older than us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's probably in his mid to late 50s, I guess, isn't he?
We'll have to pull up the bio on the
we'll have to
on
pull
the
up
internet.
We will have to do that. So, all right. Well, what else do we have here as we turn the corner here and wrap up for this Thursday?
Well, just looking forward to the fall sports starting up. Like we mentioned earlier, it's almost a year-round thing with high school sports, and the state baseball Final Four is this weekend, so we're, middle of June?
Yes.
And then I think golf teams can start playing late July, and then you have volleyball and all those other sports coming in right after that. So there literally is maybe a month break in the official high school sports season, but with all these teams already working on, whether it's this fall or this winter, a lot of those teams are already working on their upcoming season. So really there is no break in the high school sports schedule anymore.
There's not. Dwayne Casey is 61.
All right.
April 17th of 57. So congratulations to him, and I'd like to see West Kentucky folks doing well. And for those of you out there, Gypsy is off the Mirage album.
Yeah, I got that wrong.
That's okay. It happens easy. When you put out 15 great albums, I mean, it's easy to do that. So, but anyway, that was fun. And next week we'll return with our songs that didn't make the list, I guess.
The 5 we forgot.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's 10 after. So what else? Do you have one more thing we need to
No,
talk about?
I think that's everything that was on my list. So
all right. Well, that's good. We certainly appreciate Coach Daniel Kukahiko for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And getting us up to date on that. And, telling who Todd might line up for next week. But as we head into the summer, it gets a little bit more difficult to get some of these songs. Again, there's plenty to talk about. Just finding people available and different things such as that. Of course, we do want to remind you to go out to U-Ride, check out Dave's Deal of the Week. It's usually something really good. Don't have an exact Dave's deal, but I just asked for David Harden and test drive a fine vehicle out at U-Ride here in Princeton. We certainly thank them for sponsoring us, along with our other sponsors, ABC Finance and Bashir Sawmill. Todd, where you can get a load of dark hardwood mulch out there for $25 a load at Bashir Sawmill. They also buy standing timber and timber land, so check them out.
And like we said, we're not far away from starting to preview the fall sports teams.
No.
I mean, that's how quick it's going to get here.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it, and I'm ready for sweater weather, to tell you the truth. I'm not.
I don't know. I don't like the cold. I think the older I get, the colder it gets.
I like the cool, not the cold.
Well, I don't like it being 100 degrees, but at least when it's hot, you can still get out and do something.
You can.
When it's -5 and there's snow on the ground, it's tough to want to run outside.
No, you're exactly, but it's heat indices pushing 100, 105 this weekend, so perfect.
Well, we need to find that place where it just stays, like 78 degrees all the time.
Oh, yeah, there are places like that. So, all right. Well, listen, great show. Thanks for all your input and lining up the guests. And be sure you check out Todd Griffin's sports section. Great articles. Of course, this past Wednesday we had about, he had a great recap of our basketball team success and what they've been up to. You also had a write-up about Emma and her finish in the last tournament she was in, and just all kinds of great sports covers and features there in our Times Leader sports section. And just pick up your copy of the Times Leader every Wednesday and Saturday as well. They'll keep you informed of news here in Caldwell County.
And follow me on Twitter at Todd Griffin 100. A lot of things get put on there, and
yeah, it is. It's a great way, especially if you're just on the run, and you can get your sports fix. Todd's usually got something interesting.
And in season, there's always updates from games, so it's an easy way to keep up with it.
It certainly is. And thank you for joining us on the Sideline Report. Thanks to our sponsors, and thanks to our listeners out there that enjoy the Sideline Report. We certainly enjoy doing it, and 9:03 is the time. We've run over today, but hey, that's okay. Yeah. So we can do it. So, Todd, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that's going to wrap up this Sideline Report for Thursday, brought to you by the Times Leader. Also sponsors U-Ride out on 62 West in Princeton. I'm sorry, that's ABC Finance out on 62 West of Princeton Plaza. U-Ride on Marion Road in Princeton, and Bashir Sawmill off the Dawson Road in Princeton. Thanks to those folks for bringing you the Sideline Report every Thursday at 9:03 on WPKY The Tiger. 10:13. Have a wonderful Thursday, everybody. We'll see you next week.
From the WPKY Weather Center, here's a look at the latest local forecast on 103.3 FM The Tiger.
Here's your weather forecast. We had some fog earlier. Should be burning off, and sunny skies in the forecast.